So the reason you want to only make sure to get started as early as possible, like when you're in high school, is because, again, when you're applying to these jobs that you use, again, there's no platforms that's designed for young kids. We're like basically the first one that's open for high schoolers, which is crazy to think about. College kids at least have a couple of terrible variations, but the issues with those is that they're selling to schools, which means the students are not in the best interest and are not in their best interest. They're selling dashboards and data to schools and profiting and charging tens of thousands of dollars to the colleges and universities. And you know what platforms I'm talking about, and you know why you haven't been able to land anything on them. It's not your fault. It's literally because the platforms are that bad. Because, again, they don't care about getting fresh new companies that are small, that are looking to hire, that are really desperate for students, and that are kind of off the grid. What we've done with Starter is open a whole new section of the market. We have a lot of startups and small businesses who come and post jobs on our platform because we're affordable for them. So our model caters towards anywhere from enterprise level companies to smaller companies, like startups, like people with literally three employees. Like, I have small businesses who have one employee, they're solopreneur, and they'll come to us to hire a marketing intern or a data analyst intern or a research intern. You know what I mean? They'll come to us because we make it that easy and that affordable for them to bring someone on their team when they have a low employee count and low budgets to work with. And then the issue with those bigger platforms is that they're not meant for that, right? They're too big. They're overloaded. They're not, like, if you were to send out an application, those solopreneurs are not going to want to hire a 35-year-old. They're going to want to find a student they can mentor and almost mold into an entry-level role, right? That intern will eventually become a full-time role, or at least just continue to work there in a part-time basis or something. But when you're dealing with someone older, they have responsibilities. They have mortgages. They have families. They can't live off of low salaries or minimum wage or contract type work or part-time or project type contracts, things like that. So we've tried to create new categories, right? So people can post student ambassador roles or content creator roles or these different niche job positions that were almost invented just for students. So it's not just full-time, part-time internship. There's different buckets that we've designed to help students land even more roles. So companies can now hire more positions. They're like labeled as positions, but they're like project-based work, but still give students the experience, because that's the only thing that matters, is making sure a kid as young as 16 can come to a platform that's only designed for him, or him or her. 16 to 24 is the age range, but even that, 24 is cutting it really close. Our main focus is, again, 16 to like 20, 21. So they can come to a platform that's built for them and actually build up their experience. So by the time they get to college, they've already done 3-4 things. And like I said, me personally, the only things that I've done were, of course, side hustles, which is a whole nother topic, right? Because you don't need to wait for someone to employ you. So I'll tell you a couple of things I did. I ran basketball tournaments locally. I literally set them up by myself and had people come, and there was a prize pool, and there was over 50 people who would come and spectate, and there was 3v3 tournaments. I did them at my local school. Again, I didn't need to wait for permission to do that. I didn't need a budget. I didn't need anything. I just started. I built an app in freshman year of college because I worked with a developer. I don't code, so I went on Fiverr, Upwork, and found a developer. They built me one. Then I did some monetization tactics to try to make some money from it. Some ventures are going to make some money, some aren't. But the main point was that I got experience. So even if someone was not able to hire me, or I wasn't able to land an internship, I still was able to create a job for myself so I can add something to my resume showing that I did this business venture and I built some soft and hard skills and grew my network and gained a ton of knowledge. The amount of knowledge you gain from just doing your own projects and your own business ventures is insane. I'm trying to even think of the word to describe it, because let me just tell you from my point of view, from the past year that I've started my company, when I started in my dorm room, I've learned more in this past year than I have my entire 3 years in college and 4 years in high school. So 7 years in schooling, I've probably learned 10 or maybe 50x the amount that the amount that I've learned from starting my company was 1050x the amount I've learned in school, which is insane to think about. I mean, it just shows you again that school is really just going to teach theory and not any practical, useful stuff. At least it depends what field you're going into. Of course, I don't want to say that as a generalized statement, but which is why I can't stress it enough for you to start doing your own thing while you're also, applying for internships at small businesses and volunteer roles. And so going back to the events, why I stress events so much and going to them. So I just got back from an event today. That's why I'm dressed like this. It was a pitch competition. And there were startups and companies who were trying to make it that were pitching their company for an investment of like 25K or a check of 25K, right? And at these events was someone literally at the beginning said, raise your hand if you're trying to start a company or you thought of starting a company. And I think 91% raised their hands, which shows you that was the amount of founders in the room at the time, which means guess what? You as a job seeker can go to these events and start pitching yourself. You can start shaking hands and say, hey, I'm a student at XYZ majoring in this. I'd love to hear more. What do you do? And they'll probably say they're a founder and they'll tell you about their company. And you'll say, oh, okay, I'm really looking for a job in XYZ, or, I did an internship here. I really think I could provide a ton of value. I'd love to hear more about it or learn more about your company, or even just connect with you on LinkedIn. 90% of the time, founders carry their business cards. I don't have mine on me, but yeah, I was carrying business cards at the event with me. Right. So if someone approached me and asked me and was talking to me and networking around, because there was a huge group of people just networking around, you could just go shake someone's hand and go talk to them. And this isn't even at a job fair, by the way. So this is like a cheat code, an alternative job fair almost. So you need to be finding events like these. And you can go up to them and get their business card. And then from there, guess what? You have an email of someone you met personally. So there's a personal connection. There's no longer you're cold applying if they ever threw up a job position. You now have saved, you can put this in a Rolodex of emails or phone numbers or LinkedIn profiles, contact information that you can reach out to about roles that they could potentially be hiring for, right? So you can send follow-ups, you can send thank you emails, you can send, emails just saying that you met them and I'd love to get on a meeting. I'd love to get on a call with you quickly to discuss XYZ. Again, just ask AI tools how to word stuff like this for best practice. I don't want to give you anything wrong and then you use my templates. But again, if you're still in school, so not only attending events is to get involved in organizations and clubs on campus. So like I said, I founded the crypto club at school. There was none, so I started one. That opened a ton of doors and opened my network so much just because of the people I would bring in to speak. And people came to the club to come hear us speak. And I was positioned as the president. So, of course, people are going to try to network with you. It's just common sense how it works in these environments. And there was another business management club, the business administration club, right? Whatever. And the person was not taking over the club. No one was controlling it. So I stepped in. And I'm sure there's plenty of scenarios where because just to put it in perspective, when I left the school, no one took over that club or the crypto club. Both were just ripe for taking, but no one stepped in. There was imagine a free president position you could put on your resume and your portfolio, whatever your LinkedIn profile. Imagine how good that would make you look. Because every time I went in for job interviews, they would bring it up. You were the founder and president of the crypto club. What made you get into crypto? I invested in crypto, and usually we would be able to relate to the HR or the recruiting manager. That was 90% of my stories, right? Because when you have interviews, you need to make sure you have stories to talk about. And because I was so involved in college, I had thousands and thousands of stories. And now since starting Starter U, again, I could do like a 64-hour long podcast just telling you guys stories and calls that I've done and people that I've met, just sheerly because I was putting myself out there. So you sitting at home on your laptop, clicking apply 150 times a day to different positions and all types of roles, like, oh, I'm applying outside of my industry too. Why am I not landing anything? Why am I not getting calls back? The reason is because you're not diversifying your portfolio. It's the same thing as stocks, right? What do they tell you when you invest? You don't put all your eggs in one basket, which was a major problem that I did actually when I was investing. I got into stock options and I poured a lot of money into usually just like one option trade or one call or one put. And it was so stupid. And it makes so much sense why people tell you to spread out your wealth, spread out your portfolio, diversify the amount of actionable items you are taking or actionable steps you are taking in order to put yourself for hiring in this job market. Okay, that is pretty much the 2 cents I can give. And I'm trying to offer as many resources as I can. And what we do is we really try to build a community effort. So it's not just like a job board where you go and apply. That's why I try to do events like these where I put on myself, don't get any money from them, but it generates us, a lot of PR and a lot of people who come and question, hey, I'm trying to learn. Thank you so much for putting this event. Hey, I met X, Y, and Z because I came to your event. Or hey, how can I learn more about Starter U and actually landing a job? We're trying to give them the tools that they need in order to succeed as a young student. That is Starter U. Okay, so don't think it's LinkedIn or Indeed or Handshake, because we're much different. And I'm doing everything I can to fix this market for young kids, because by the time they get to the age when you graduate and my age when you have to look for a full-time job, I don't want them being screwed over like how bad the market is now. So I want to give them the tools they need to succeed as early as possible. So as I'm about to close this, just some resources. So obviously starteru.com, you can go and sign up as a student for free with your school email. We're only doing USA students right now. I'm sorry, international people. We'll open it up eventually. But again, we just need to make sure we secure ourselves in one market first before I just open the floodgates. Because again, creating exclusivity is how you save a certain niche in a job market. It's the same route Facebook took when they first started, when they only allowed the Harvard EDU emails. So obviously go on starteru.com and you can search around. Again, it's roles that are only for students. So if you're not a student, you're probably not going to find much use out of it. This is really geared towards 16 to 21. The second thing is go to our calendar of events on Luma. Well, first of all, connect with me on LinkedIn, and that's where you'll see all of our links. You can go to our link tree. The link tree is in the bio of my LinkedIn. So look up Michael Berlingo. I'll put it on. It'll be in the description and in the comment section too. And connect with me on LinkedIn, because I'm always trying to post useful stuff. And when I say LinkedIn, by the way, and I know you're saying, oh, don't use LinkedIn because it's useless, or I just said that, so you're thinking I'm a hypocrite. But when I say LinkedIn, I think use it as a social network and a virtual Rolodex of keeping the contacts you have or people you have met, not to apply to jobs. It's not good for that. Don't use it to apply for jobs. Use it to network around and meet people and build a personal brand and online presence. What's easier, creating content and posting it on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, or creating a LinkedIn text post twice a week to generate some buzz about who you are? Of course, the LinkedIn thing is much easier. So use LinkedIn as a tool to put yourself out there and amplify your voice and what you're looking for. So connect with me on LinkedIn, go to our link tree. You can see our event calendar. You can join our networking group in WhatsApp. We have a Discord group. We have our social medias that you can follow, just because we're trying to push out some relevant content. And of course, attend our events on Luma as well. And I'm sure there's some other stuff I'm forgetting about in that link tree, but you'll see. I'll put it in the description as well. But other than that, guys, I also started doing a Stardew Hotline, which is a show where people call in and can ask questions about their job hunt or their career search or stuff about school or stuff about life as a student. And I try my best to offer free advice and free help. And no, I'm not trying to eventually funnel you into a course like some Hustlers University thing. It's just a free call that I do, and then I upload them to our YouTube channel, and then people take clips from it. So it's literally just to generate PR. So of course, I'm just going to take the time to actually try to give advice and to help you guys out. And then we put that content out there. So it's a win-win for both of us. Other than that, guys, I know it's tough, but all I can say is keep going. Obviously, dedication outweighs every other skill you can imagine. And I say that because I started a company and I have zero skills. I had zero skills, right? I'm not a coder. I'm not an insane salesperson. I'm not a genius at marketing. I have none of these skill sets. But because I stayed determined to starting the company in my dorm room at college and started from ground zero and just talking with people and working my way slowly until we eventually launched, things eventually worked out just because I stayed consistent with it and was dedicated. I didn't have any special skills. It was all determination. That's why I say it's the greatest skill a human being on earth can have is sheer will and dedication. Because no matter how bad you are at something, as long as you stay consistent with it, think about it. You can have, oh, I have positivity and I have optimism, or I have, I don't know, I'm trying to think of other traits that people always say are very necessary. They're not. The only thing that's necessary is dedication, because that will kill every other trait that you would need, because you're continue to stick with it and you learn as you go on. As you fail, you learn. Every time you fail, it's a learning opportunity, which obviously we pivoted a ton. Again, that's a whole nother show that I can tell you about all the times we had to change our models. Yeah, and then of course there's this solution, right? If you can't find a job, create one, and that's kind of the route I took as well. But that'll be a talk show for another time. I don't want to make this too long. But yeah, guys, best of luck out there with everything. Feel free to comment your thoughts below, and if you want to join the Starter U hotline, add the username at StarterU on Discord. That's the account that I'm taking the calls from. So go on Discord and add as a friend StarterU, and send me a DM, and we can get a time slot for you, and I'll take your calls. But yeah, other than that, guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.